Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. Boy, oh boy, it's Monday. It is Monday following a fun and thrilling St. Patrick's Day weekend. That's right, a little St. Patty's Day weekend. Now it's Monday, getting to pick up the pieces, if you will. It's a Monday following as well the culmination of the Big 12 tournament and conference tournaments in general. So that means it's no better time for a little March Madness, a little that's right, the big dance, and also the NIT Bearcats and the NIT. We're going to talk about all that, but it's also the return from spring break and the resumption of year two spring practice, spring ball for Coach Scott Satterfield and the football program. Got a very special guest that we're going to be bringing on. And yes, we're going to dive deep into that and get all the updates we can. But without further ado, it's also a Monday. I'm going to bring in the guys, the pals, the crew, the squad. That's right. Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer, and without a doubt, the legend, the GOAT, Nico Palizzetti. Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing good. It's busy Sunday. Had to play Super Dad and save the day on a bad haircut for the daughter, but pulled it off. We got it done. They cut her hair like this. Like one side was up almost up to her armpit, and the other side was down in the middle of her back, and it just went like that. She came home. There was crying. It was bad. But we got it fixed.
What'd you do? Bust out the scissors?
No, my uncle's ex-wife is a hairstylist that has a salon like in her house. So I made that call like, hey, I don't do this very often, but we got an emergency here.
Resourceful, baby.
All hands on deck emergency.
That's powering through adversity.
School with hair, so I win Father of the Week.
Yes, you did. I'll give you the award. You deserve it. Aaron, sir, how are we?
I'm doing all right. It was a little chilly today for my liking. Excited for spring to be here, but yeah, made it through St. Patty's. Had some Irish beers, if you will.
Yeah,
some Guinnesses flowing. So it was a good weekend.
Gotta love that. St. Patty's Day, baby. Still feeling it. Ryan, Mr. Royer, sir, how are we?
Doing good, man. Had a nice long weekend. Took Friday off. Went down to Chicago. Got the ultimate St. Patty's experience. Just It's a madhouse down there, but it was better than I thought it was gonna be. So definitely was tired today, but the boy Nico is gonna get me going. So he's gonna fix all this hangover that I've been feeling.
Yeah. It's rough over here in Indy too. But so what? Green River and all that whole 9 yards, right? You were able to take it in.
Yeah. Yep. Went out. There was like a boat cruise. There's like this 3-deck like yacht kind of.
Right.
You buy a ticket, you get on it. It like goes around the harbor. Doesn't go down the river, but did that in the morning. So that was pretty cool. Then it was just kind of like you basically just go to one spot. You stay there because you ain't getting anywhere else. You just wait in line. So it was still fun. It was a good time.
There we go.
Oh, actually, Nico, I was at a state bar. That's where I was. It's called Hopsmith. They're like every bar around there, they have like a team or whatever. But I was at a school bar. So
was it gritty? Was it blue collar mentality?
It was just it looked kind of like a pub. It had a lot of wood, linoleum floors. It was just your typical. I wouldn't say it was like gritty, Spartan tough, like Coach Manny. Nothing like a Coach Manny type bar, but it was.
Oh boy, yeah, that would be Steubenville-esque.
There you go.
Well, Nico, how are we, sir? I asked you off air, boss. Do the Italians? You get a little celebration, a little St. Patty's Day celebration, and you're back from spring break as well. So, man, just fill us all in, man.
Yeah, I'm almost too rested for my liking. I had too much sleep. I don't trust myself right now. I don't know what I'm going to say. As I told you guys earlier, I do have a touch of Irish blood in me, and I embrace that on St. Patrick's Day. My father's middle name is Patrick, ironically. So there you go. Unbelievable. So the Palisettis are representing. I didn't save the day by fixing my daughter's hair. I didn't go to Chicago, and I'm not enjoying a Guinness right now, but I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful for you guys.
God, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, you know what? If you had a fun St. Patty's Day, you probably need to get your oil changed. That's just the next thing you probably got to do. Just got to reset, full reset, man. And the way to get that full reset is heading over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care, man. Danco Joe will hook you up. He'll probably entice you to get one more beer, and you got to say no, but he'll try. But Danco Transmission and Auto Care, we love Danco Joe. $10 off next oil change, 10% off next fixing. Danco Joe, gotta love them, man. But man, let's dive in, Nico. What, a week off, spring break, in the past, in the rear view mirror. That, I'm sure, A of all, that feels good to say. B of all, what's the next step? When do the players get back? Are they already back? What's the plan? Early, revamping up. What is the move week following spring break?
Yeah, they're back. The Bearcats are back. We had a team meeting last night at 8 p.m. just make sure everyone was back in town. Today we had a workout. The whole kind of premise of the day was twofold. One was to kind of get the spring break out of us, to remove the Cancun from the Cincinnati Bearcats, if you will. And then number two was kind of get back in our performance routines, which is just kind of setting ourselves up for success from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. So getting the treatment back in us, getting the kind of activation, wellness, recovery in the weight room. We lifted today, we ran today. So kind of just trying to do everything in our power to get ourselves ready for our first practice back from spring break tomorrow.
Anything, guys? Open floor.
What's that 24 hours like getting them ready for practice tomorrow? Because you got a bunch of guys that didn't take care of their bodies real well the past week.
You know what, Chad? It's kind of weird. There's been a shift in college athletics, and who knows, maybe it's from like a professional standpoint. I know when I was in college, the last thing that was on my mind was going to a performance center and working on my craft. I know I was shooting down to the first cheap flight to Mexico. But it's funny, man. A lot of these guys take the other approach. A lot of these guys are going to Arizona, going to Texas, going to some place that's warmer and working. And they're doing their training, and they're working with a performance coach. They're working on their skill. They're trying to do all these different things. Now, some are more traditional-esque, but a lot of them are, you're almost more concerned of them overdoing it. And you're almost more concerned of them really just trying to train and work with a coach. So a lot of it kind of leading up is, what are they doing? Where are they going? You kind of take that approach of are you going somewhere to train? Do you have a place to train? We give them a program. We stay in contact with them throughout spring break. Those that are a little bit more enjoyment based, you just make sure that they're safe, make sure that they got a plan and a place to train. Those that are going to performance place, those that have plans, you make sure that they're kind of doing it with the long-term goal in mind and not overdoing it. But really today is just, regardless, number one, you weigh them in. So where are they at from a body weight standpoint? That shows maturity.
How fat did you get?
Huh?
How fat did you get?
I personally gained 4 pounds. I went to my grandma's house over Ben and Jerry's were flowing. I smashed. I cut loose. I consumed a lot of dairy products, and it was good. It was good, man.
Nico, do you remember? I guarantee you do. Do you remember the name Tion Green?
Yeah.
So Tion was one of those guys that he would go home for spring break or go home. Ryan, you played with Tion, didn't you?
No, he was a couple years older. I think his
Might have been 1
last
year
year was
older.
2 year. I think it was his last year was 2 years before I got there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tion was one of those guys, Nico. He would be in the best shape of his life. He would look like a monster. And he would go home for 4 days and come back just a tub of goo. Like that fast, man. He could go home and gain 15 pounds. Like, you gain 2. And then he would come back and he would work and he'd be all yoked up and look incredible. And then he'd go back home and he'd come back. They almost were like, Tion, you can't go home. Like, look, you just can't go home. Like, you have to stay here.
God bless lifestyle, huh? Unbelievable. Yeah, time away does one of two things. You either the big guys love to indulge, the small guys I think are allergic to food. But to be honest, we are we did all right. We did okay. It shows maturity level, it shows lifestyle habits, it shows that they're able to apply. Really, it was pretty exciting to see where they're at. And then, you run them, you just kind of get the guys exposed, and obviously you change the distances and the speed exposure based on what position they are, and then you try to do everything in our part to feed them, to get them ready. You get their hamstrings prepared, you get their soft tissue as ready as you possibly can, and you then tomorrow's going to be a huge test, see where they're at, and try to get them as prepared from a body weight standpoint, from a readiness standpoint, from a preparedness, and say your prayers and see what we got. And obviously you modify practice the best you can and kind of ooze them back into it from a workload standpoint. But it's always a risk. It's always unfortunate. But, I think our guys are in a really good place.
As you've been going through everything this spring, have you been taking notes on things that you want or need that you may have forgotten about as the indoor practice facility is under construction, and things that you want on your wish list as that's coming about?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Aaron. We've gone through a list. This is the 4th rendition of the list. Our sport oversight, John Daniels, who's also our CFO. He asked me back like last May. He was like, "Hey, by any chance, you have like a rough list?" And I'm like, "I've been waiting for this moment all of my career." And I sent him about, I think it was $2.2 million worth of stuff, like all like inventory organized base. And he was like, "Shoot, like this is not what I was hoping for. I was hoping you'd come in with a much less organized list." And I was like, "Nope, I'm ready." And so we've been working backwards from there as far as needs of the facility and exactly what fits our training style. But I think this is the 4th or 5th variation. But oh yeah, it's I don't know if you've been on campus as of late. Since spring break, they've connected, like they've had the rafters going up, the support beams. Now they branched it over, and so you can see the foundation of the indoor, and it is so exciting. I got in, I was like, "Ooh!" I just kept making like sound effects. I'm like, "Oh yeah!" And I turned the corner. I'm like, "Oh!" And I was all beat up, man. I'm all freaking turned up. You can see the shell of an indoor. If it was up to me, we'd practice in the grass, or not really grass. It's like there's pickup trucks. It's like looks like a backyard football setup of like pickup truck, gravel pit, 150 yards worth of dirt. It'd be perfect.
It's like the Invincible with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Get Marky Mark down there.
I'm fired up. It's very exciting to see the progress. Let's just say that.
Awesome. Little backyard football, little Pablo Sanchez, little Pee Wee Herman. I'm all about it. But hey, before we look forward, let's oh, got the dogs barking, baby. So what was your overall impression of just week 1 of practice? Any kind of differences that really stuck out to you from what you saw last season, and kind of just overall vibes of practice just through the first week?
One, you see a willingness to be coached. I think, the biggest fear you have, I guess it's an anxiety that you have. My dog's barking. Dog's on watch right now. I think the biggest thing that you have is like you metaphorically turn the keys over, right? You hand coach Sat the keys and you say, you want to know how, when you remove all of the infrastructure of the off season, things continue to run smoothly, and can all those habits and routines that you set up, the sports performance staff, do they maintain? And it's been really encouraging to see guys still being incredibly diligent with their bodies and their preparedness and getting ready each day, as if, you can see those habits continuing. And that's been really, really encouraging. So that's one, is a willingness to apply what we've learned in the winter and continue it. Two is, I think, the ability to go harder longer. So a lot of the practice scripts are the same, right, from last year. So like the structuring of practice is the same. From an objective standpoint with Catapult, which measures your external load, so it measures how fast you go, how far you go, the distances, the player load, all these different things. Our player load is up from last year, an average of like 120, which I guess, like, let's just say last year was like a 300, a 400 on average player load. We're up at like the 600s right now, 700, 800s of our guys. And so what does that mean? Like, I think our guys are able to go harder, longer, are more locked in, faster transitions, are getting more reps in. So from an objective standpoint, like, it's really encouraging to see how high these player loads are that our guys are ready for. And so you can break that into a couple of different ways. One, we're getting in more work, which is awesome. Two, our guys are able to apply greater effort with greater intensity over the duration of practice. Three, our transitions are faster, which means we're being more efficient, which means we're getting in higher reps. Four, the intangibles, the leadership, the communication, the support from one another, the engagement of our coaches and our players are at a new level. So objectively and subjectively, it's really encouraging to see. And then the last point is, guys are flying around, man. Like, just from the naked eye, guys are flying around, guys are having fun, guys are competitive, guys are throwing it in there. We had our first shells practice last Thursday before break. We're going to have pads this week. I'm excited to see as we progress in the physicality of practice, to see how it translates. But overall, really encouraging, really, really, really exciting stuff.
Sounds like there's a little bit of a different kind of buzz kind of going on right now. Just what you have like a direct example with that workload output you're getting from the catapults. Do you think that, I know you don't want to toot your own horn, but my inclination is that I think the off season that you put together with the guys is really starting to show. Would you say that you could kind of pat yourself on the back there and say that the off season you kind of took things to the next level, and you think that's why things are kind of going the way they are right now?
It's a good question, right? I don't want to, I'm like this. I'm not willing to do that yet. I think see me in 12 more practices, and then we'll be able to, you can do this in the spring, and you can put one hand on my back. So I'm not there yet. I'm starting to reach. I'm like, oh, snap. I think the intangible things like we talked about are really, really encouraging. Like, guys coming back off the spring break, and the biggest weight loss we had from when they left was 2 pounds. And so from there, you see, like, okay, a lot of, like, there's a discipline and an engagement that's very encouraging. There's a maturity that you see. You see guys working, but the engagement and the willingness to encourage one another, and that camaraderie still really, really high, which you never know how that's going to work, right? Like, and Ryan, that's like, when it's the off season and guys are working, like, that's great. But now, can you apply that in a competitive, guys are competing with one another for playing time? Like, how does that still work? And guys are encouraging one another. Guys are rooting for their peers in the position group. Guys are holding each other accountable. There's a lot of competitiveness between offense and defense already. So those are all really, really exciting to see. I think the winners had a really good effect as far as urgency, as far as competition, as far as shared suffering, that everyone's in on it. I think coaches are coaching harder. I think they're holding their positions more accountable. I think players are holding their peers more accountable. I think overall it's really encouraging, but also I think the maturity of the team. Like, I think the one thing I learned last year is, you can have the greatest system in place. You can have you can coach guys hard, but are guys willing to actually do it? Do they believe in it? I don't know if we were there last year. I think guys believe, and you can feel that difference in the way that guys are approaching it and the way that guys are buying in and pushing the standard up. And I said that last time we talked, but I believe it more now, more than ever. And I think that's why the buzz is different. And so for me, it's encouraging. It's really, really exciting. So am I patting myself on the back yet? Absolutely not. Hopefully at the end of 12 more practices, we can I can exhale. But to be honest, man, I'm already writing the needs analysis for the summer. So like, I don't know. I'm already what do we need for May, June, and July? That's what I'm looking
I
for.
like it. That's the perfect answer. We can let you know there is a buzz, and I think a lot of it does have to do with you, but you don't have to believe us until the work's done. So that's a good little answer by you. I like that. It's you come from the right tree, you come from the right people, I can tell.
Thank you.
But there's one thing I also think too is I think there's comfortability in like understanding each other. And when I say is like the players understanding the coaches understanding the players, and then like you kind of then it gets all laid down in the winter, and like you're building yourself back up while also getting more comfortable with each other, and like the program itself is more comfortable with its mission. And as much as we don't like to talk about like what like previous coaching staffs and how transitions are hard, but I really think that year one is trying to get to establish the culture, and I really think you've done a great job of that now, leading into what I think is the most important offseason of players development is their first offseason, and you can kind of really see that importance that you guys took, and now how it's transitioning really well. And do you think there's anything that you've seen already in the spring that you mentioned you were attacking the summer already? Is there stuff that you're already kind of got your eyes on and things you're looking to improve?
Yeah. Derek Canteen, one of our new safeties, transferred from Virginia Tech, incredible person. He texts me. I'm in the shower, right? I'm on spring break. He texts me and he goes, I haven't told anybody this, but he texts me and he goes, I think the next step of our so he's already thinking about this. And he goes, I think the next stage of our program is the how. Like, how can we take ourselves to being Big 12 champions? And for me, I'm like, I literally got out of the shower, saw the text message, and like had to put my phone down. I'm like, oh, I was like, man, like what a freaking message. Like, because for me, then it's like, I think he nailed it. And I think that's what you're trying to verbalize, which is a lot of teams, most teams, I would say like 95% of teams get caught up on the what, right? Like what you need to do, how you need to, like the what, like we're going to train you hard. Like this is the what. The what is training. The what is just kicking the crap out of you. The what is just being coached. The what is like what you're being exposed to, right? Very few teams have the maturity to kind of push past the what into the how. And the how is a lot more calculated, right? The how is it's applying all these different what's to synchronize into a shared vision, right? It's all these inner departments working together. It's looking at all the individual parts of a football program and making sure that we're all aligned and everyone's on the same page in order to execute a shared vision of if we're going to say we are going to be a Big 12 champion team, then that point of that is, okay, if this is what it looks like and this is what we all say we want as departments, then we all have to come together and push the threshold to that level. And I think him verbalizing it, it's what does it really look like? Like it's like we have to move past that. Now it's how if we all believe in this vision, it's how do we apply it? Like how are the actual steps that each department has to do to make sure that we're all on the same page and make sure that we're pushing hard enough and making sure that we're applying what we want. And the fact that a player has verbalized that, the fact that a player cares, and the fact that he's challenging a department, that he's sharing this it was one, incredibly encouraging. Two, I haven't slept much in the last 7 days because like that's the challenge, right? The challenge is okay. We know what we had to do. Like we knew exactly what we needed to do, which was just beat the crap out of everybody and draw the line in the sand and say, okay, like, is this what we want? If you want this, then this is what you have to get through. Okay, great. Now it's the how. It's how are we going to reach our goals? How are we going to make sure that each department has a shared vision? How are we going to elevate our standard? How are we going to make sure that we reach these goals? And what does each department have to do in order to have alignment and then make sure that's reached? And that's the next step. So to answer a very simple question in a very long way, it's identifying our goals. It's making sure that we're all aligned and have a shared vision, and then it's making sure that each department's held accountable to that standard that we set.
Yeah, it's like how is the differential of what? It's like you see step 10. Step 10's holding up the trophy, the Big 12 championship trophy, going to a college football playoff game. But there's steps 1 through 9. You're not going to know exactly what 9 is because you got to figure out 2, you got to figure out 3, and keep building off. And then next thing you know, you're sitting at 10, and then the whole story's written behind you. So and it's kind of hard for you to just name everything you think you need to do right in the moment. But I know those gears are churning for you constantly. So we might get some more out of you next time.
I know. I've written down like the how in all caps and bold, and then like you're right. There's all those steps, 1 through 100. How do you get there? And it's and that's what everyone's chasing, right? That's what everyone's aspiring to. It's the ones that can identify it, the ones that can execute it, and the ones that are held accountable to those goals and to those standards in which to operate. That's the fun stuff, man. That's the stuff that's the stuff that I love. I think that's the stuff that great coaches, appreciate and try to push to.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we talk about kind of the culture shift and all of that, there's been 2 new coaches that we haven't really gotten to talk to you about in Coach Veit at the defensive coordinator position and then Coach Dawkins at the running back position. Curious as to what has stood out to you from them in the interactions that you've had with them over the course of obviously with Coach Dawkins here in a much shorter amount of time than, not by much, but a shorter amount of time than Coach Veit.
Just speaking on Coach Veit, he's been unbelievable. He's been at every single workout. Like he's basically a strength coach. Like he comes to every single workout. He usually gets in the. My dog's on watch again. She her defensive coordinator. She's all jacked up.
Let's go.
Let's go. He gets to the facility at 5:30 and we debrief about the day. And then he watches the first 2 groups until he has a defensive staff meeting, usually around 7:38. And so he is as engaged and locked in as any coach I've ever worked with. He knows his personnel incredibly well. He's obviously incredibly cerebral. I mean, he helped design the defense that has stumped everyone in the Big 12 at Iowa State, and his ability to kind of execute that and make personnel work for that scheme. Hey.
She's a big Coach Veit fan.
Oh, she's all in.
Huge Coach Veit. Yeah, she loves Coach Veit. He's unbelievable. But no, he's the value that he's provided and the edge that he brings and the work ethic, the mentality, the way he approaches practices, the way he grades each practice. I mean, he's been exactly what we needed as a staff, what we needed as a defense. He's been unbelievable. I can't verbalize enough how much I personally appreciate him, how much, I mean, literally, he's basically another strength coach. He helps weighs guys in. He is so engaged in what value he provides and how much he understands that every little piece matters, from strength and conditioning to nutrition to athletic training. Like his attention to detail is unlike any coach I've worked with. And so he's been an incredible breath of fresh air. He's been incredibly locked in. And I value him as a friend already. This amount of time we spent together. I mean, literally hours together each day. Like as far as picking my mind, as far as each player, how they can fit, He watches them train. He wants feedback from how they train. We talk body weights. I mean, he is as diligent and attention to detail as anyone I've ever worked with. You know, Coach Dawkins, I don't have as much exposure to him. You know, I think he's a great person. The one thing I will say is my running back coach in college at Michigan State worked with him at Memphis. And so the first thing that I literally saw the news break on Twitter. I got a phone call from my running back coach, Brad Salem, just pounding the table for the character of this man, for how hard he coaches and the type of person that he is. And just watching him coach through 2 practices or 3 practices. I mean, he got thrown into it. I think like his first day was our Iron Bearcat standard. So like the first day he was there, he was like, oh, cool. These are where the players are. And this is what we did over the winter. And then I think the next day we practiced and he didn't even bat an eye, man. He's coaching those guys up hard. He already has trust of the running back unit. And everything I've heard and all my interactions with him, he's incredibly delightful human being. And then he coaches those guys up hard now. So he brings it. He's got a lot of experience. He's very competent in what he does, and he knows how to kind of verbalize it and get the best out of the player. So I'm excited to watch him coach and grow in a relationship with him.
With Coach Veit, they always talk about D3 guys. They're different because what you have to do at that level is different. You have to line the fields. You have to handle the weight room. You have to do every job. Do you sense that when you're around him, that he still has that, like, I've got to know everything. I've got to have my hands and my knowledge everywhere to make this thing work?
I do.
Feel.
I do. I mean, I think he, you know, he's an Ohio guy. Like he has that D3 gritty mentality. Like he loves his craft. And here's the thing, right? Like I think strength coaches are wired a little different. Like for me, my clock never stops. And he texted me he asked me about a schedule update. And so I get home, I put the girls down, I'm watching The Sopranos right now from stem to stern, and it's unbelievable right now. I'm at season 4. I mean, I've watched the show, but never in complete succession.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers right now. Season 4 is unbelievable. Anyway, so I watched an episode of The Sopranos, me and my wife, Kelsey. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. I forgot to send coach. I promised him what I would. So I log on. It's probably 10:30, 11. I punch out an email, send it to him. I mean, it's literally 10:45. I get in bed, I brush my teeth, pop my vitamins. I check my phone. It's a text message at like 11:05. Thank you, coach. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. And I go, all right, this guy is on it. So just that's his work ethic. And then we talked about it at 5:17 in the morning. And so I think his willingness to do everything, like he'll help put strength equipment away. Like he'll literally help us put he'll grab a bike at 5:30 in the morning and help us set up the weight room. No task is too small for him. He has a servant mentality, leader. I have nothing but the highest respect for him as a person, as a man. He's special now. He's special. He embodies that gritty Cincinnati mentality. I think we're really blessed to have him here. He's made us all better already.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm going to kind of dive in a little bit more on the player aspect, individual player aspect, if that's all right. First off, you mentioned Iron Bearcat thing, and last episode of Strong Shall Reign was a nice little hat tip to that. I loved your quote on happy to see everyone in here, kind of camaraderie and talking with each other instead of trying to find the to-go plate and get out of there. So that was cool to see. But kind of talk about you already mentioned, Canteen, and I'm thrilled to see what Canteen can bring on the field this year. I think obviously that freshman year that he had was somewhat legendary, but there were 3 other transfers in that episode of Strong Shall Reign. It's Kai Stokes, Jared Bartlett, and Tony Johnson. I'm just break down what you've seen from those 3 and also Canteen, just kind of, how they've been able to translate their work in the training room out onto the field.
Yeah. The answer to that, to summarize, is yes. Let's start with Kai. It's the easiest one for me. I've worked with Kai since 2022 when he was a freshman at Ohio State. I love Kai as a human being. I think the greatest attribute about Kai is that Kai, when he trains with you, makes you have the best workout of your life. And I say that because he is the Energizer Bunny. He is unrelenting in his approach for himself, and then he pushes you to his standard. And he does it with a smile on his face and relentless positive encouragement. And he's really special. So he brought that in the weight room, and then on the field, he's the exact same way. The safety position is the most transformed position on our field. It's probably went from one of our less strong positions to one of our best, probably our best right now as far as most depth and as far as the way that team operates and the standard that they hold themselves to. And he's a huge part of it. The other part was probably Derek Canteen, and there's a lot. There's Logan Wilson. There's Mackay. There's a ton of transfers, a ton of new players in there. Minkins. That whole room is so depth. Kenny. Willis is a huge piece of that. So there's that whole room in itself is an incredibly mature room, and they work and they encourage one another. So you talked about Kai. Obviously, he's brought that on the field. Derek Antine is a worker. He's incredibly diligent. He's almost the highest compliment I can say about a player is that he's intimidating to coach. And I say that about him, and I say that Derek, and I say that about Jared Bartlett as far as the intensity at which they approach training. Like the best players I've ever coached are so diligent about their training is that they want to be coached with. It's like they are so intense about their own training that it wears off on you. Like they want to know exactly why they're doing something. They believe in you, but they want to know why. They want to know how it can help. And then they're going to do it with 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they want feedback throughout the whole process. And like the type of players like a Derek Cantina and Jared Bartlett have that mentality. Like they're incredibly professional in their approach, and they expect you to coach them with the same intensity that they bring to you. And so that's such a fun challenge. I love it. So they've been awesome on the defensive front. And then Tony Johnson is absolutely electric. He plays bigger than he is. And I say that in regard to his catch radius. Like that guy goes up and pulls down balls. Like he is absolutely electric. He's a yes sir, no sir type of guy. So incredibly like coachable, willing to really push the standard in that room. Was relentless in his mentality as a player from a training standpoint, and then on the field, he's electric, man. He's a game changer. He can go up and make those difficult catches. He can go battle and pull down the 50-50 ball. He has a huge catch radius. He's electrifying, and then he's a great teammate on top of it. So 4 guys that have made the Bearcats a lot better.
So this may be some overlap from the last question, but we got a feel for the leadership throughout the offseason, especially at the beginning of the guys returning, in guys like Corey and guys like Mace and Dante, and the list goes on and on. But I'm curious as to who stood out and kind of shown some of that leadership quality of the new guys, whether it be some of the incoming freshmen potentially, or probably more so the guys who have been in other programs before.
Yeah, I think the way our coaching staff and the way our recruiting staff has gone about bringing in the right guys, I don't think can go overstated. Like I think the way we've approached, the way really they approached bringing in the right people and having the perspective of, do they fit in as far as culture wise? Are they the right people? Like, because it's so easy to get caught up on, like, are they talented enough? Are they going to provide us from a scheme standpoint? Are they going to help us on the field? Like those things are all really matter, but like giving our players autonomy of, do they fit into what we're trying to build? Do you like them as people? Will they fit in the locker room? I think those, like giving the players the autonomy, 2, doing the homework and making sure we're bringing in the right people, 3, making sure that on the recruiting process, they've been exposed to the right number of people that have perspective and know, like, I like this person. And so our recruiting staff and our coaching staff did exhaustive homework, made sure we brought the right guys in. And so from that perspective is automatically you felt the change in the winter. And that was one of the biggest things. And I talked about it last time, was like the professionalism, like coming in and working, and like what they like. I think our current players had the cultural side of things, right? Like they were the cultural foundation. Like, this is what it means to be a Bearcat. This is what it means to represent the city of Cincinnati. This is what it, means to represent this university. All great things. But then you also have a competitive edge of new guys coming in that want to win, that want to compete, that want to bring in a different edge. And like, there's no BS. There's no BS. And I think like that, like, oh snap, like these guys are here. They're buying into what that cultural foundation is with our current players. They're meshing because we've done our homework and brought in the right guys. And then on top of it, like the whole competitive edge has been elevated. Really, let's go the opposite way. There hasn't really been a player that hasn't meshed. There hasn't been the right fit that hasn't brought a competitive edge. Like, there hasn't. And so we got 30 extra players that have just been absolutely made us better from a competitive standpoint. The freshmen have been electric. Samaj has been a great leader. As he's a prick, and I say that in the best of sense of like, he's a dickhead. Like, he is competitive. He brings it. Like, when you train with him, like, it's not like you're training a quarterback. Like, the whole quarterback room has been phenomenal. And then from down the O lineman, with the way, I mean, everyone's back in that room, but like you better have some thick skin now, because they come after your ass. Like, they're tough asses and they go after you. The wideout room's been elevated. Great leadership that's already been there, from Evan Prater and Xavier Henderson, and there's a lot of different guys. AT, Aaron Turner, and you get all those guys, the foundation wise, but then on top of it, you bring in new guys. The running back room's been electric. So the defensive front's been, you have pre-existing guys that we brought back, but also you elevate it with the Jared Bartlett, you elevate with the safety room. The corner's been much more competitive. Just with the new freshman that we brought in with Ormani. So just a lot of different players playing at a high level. So that was a long-winded answer, but it's really exciting.
All good things there. Let's talk about some freshmen real fast. You mentioned Samaj, but a couple other names that have kind of piqued interest. Obviously, we're not going full contact yet, but all the Simeon Coleman. I want to hear your thoughts on that big stick that he had on Kiner last week. But aside from that, a few wideouts obviously have kind of caught the eye a bit, Dakari Anderson and Cale Woodburn, and then of course you whenever there's a player with the nickname Gravy, you got to mention Gravy, a little Gravy Johnson, and even a little redshirt freshman Jaden Davis has really started to kind of get his name popped up a little bit more on the practice reports and whatnot. So just those names I listed, and then what is your main thing? As obviously they're freshmen, so they're going to probably need to put on a little bit of weight, probably need to hone in and fine tune some certain things. But your thoughts on those names, just kind of just the direction of that group as a whole.
You guys have done your homework. You've named the right names. It's like you guys do this professionally or something.
It's
like you guys have insights here.
Only in days that end in Y, baby.
Unbelievable, man. No, it's funny. I've said every single name that you said is doing an incredible job, and they all come in at different places, right? And that's the beauty of a program like this, is you get guys at all ends of the spectrum. You get a fifth-year transfer that's trying to like fight for that inch, and then you get a Zay Gravy Johnson that comes in at like 149 pounds. He's nothing but skin and bones. You get a Cale Woodburn that's like, I mean, a strong breeze would have knocked him over when he first got here. But the exciting thing is that they're working now. I mean, I could, every name you've said has really progressed. Zay stands out just from the fluidity that he possesses, his natural athletic ability. He's 175 pounds now, so he's literally gained like 25 pounds. And he's going to continue to grow. I said I don't believe in DBs that weigh under 180 pounds. I don't trust a man that weighs under 180 pounds.
Amen.
And I don't trust freshmen to begin with. So those are two strikes against old Gravy. But no, he his willingness to be coached, his willingness to buy in, and obviously training in our setting was incredibly foreign to him. Like I don't think many high school weight rooms have the intensity at which we train, but all those freshmen were incredibly diligent. They worked really hard and made a lot of impressive physical gains. And then obviously, I think there's no harder transition than your first spring or your first fall camp. Like your eyes are like this, and you go from being the best at everything you do to being overwhelmed and feeling like you've never played football before. And that's what good programs do. And I think a lot of our players are at that, but you see a lot of glimmers. And, obviously Zay, the way he moves, the fluidity that he has, his footwork, his reach, his length, a lot of just God-given, traits that he has makes him a really exciting prospect and a really exciting young player for us. And I think he'll definitely contribute in some aspect. Simeon Coleman came in and I think he would have been out of breath tying his shoes. And he has a natural nose for the football, man. And he'll throw it in there. He's fearless. He'll throw it in there and he'll bang. Like he'll come in and downhill with bad intentions. He just has the natural feel for the game, and you can't teach that. And he's done a really, really good job as a young player. Kale and Dakari can fly. They're just electric, and they're learning the system and they're learning how to kind of fine tune their skill set at a college level as far as route running and catching. But just two guys that train really hard and have great attitudes. I'm really proud of Jaden Davis. Like he came in and he was hurt as a freshman, and just came in and had a slower start, and obviously was physically behind, and really worked this winter, and was humble in his approach, and is around the right players now, and has the right kind of mentorship, and has really taken off. He's 185 pounds. He's gained about 15 pounds as he's gotten here, and he's put on the right weight, and he has a big long frame and is getting consistent in his attitude. So I'm excited to see what he does as a consistent maturity progresses. I'm trying to think what other players that you said. The young O linemen are doing pretty good. Young D linemen are doing good. That's a harder position to learn right off the bat, just from a physical standpoint. Jaquan Sanks is a big physical body that'll come downhill, isn't afraid to hit you. So all the freshmen, I can say, have done a really, really good job, and have really bought in and have done it the right way, and are buying in and believe in what we have to. And that starts with the leadership and the foundation that our older players have had.
Love that. So I'm sure you're familiar with it, but the Bruce Feldman freak list, right? That it comes out with every off season leading into the year. Let's talk about like a pre version of that. If you had to name maybe just a handful of Bearcats that you feel like really should be in the running for that freak list, just based off of what you've seen from them in winter workouts, and maybe even the potential of what you can see from them as practices and workouts continue throughout the summer.
Just from a stat standpoint. So I think you guys will like this. Hopefully I didn't say this, or hopefully it hasn't been released, but I'll say it right now. And if I'm repeating myself, play dumb. But so last year we had two guys run over 22 miles an hour. So we had one guy in the winter touch it, and we had one guy in the summer touch it. So 22 miles an hour is like the threshold for elite level speed. It's probably 4.4 and below. We've had 5 guys hit it already in the winter. We've had 3 additional guys get within 21.95 and up. So a fart under, a breeze of push that can get them there. So theoretically, we have 8 guys right now that can run 21.95 miles an hour and up. So as a team, we are much faster, and a lot of that, as much as I want to pat, it's genetics, it's recruiting, it's what they're physically able to do. So as a team, we've gotten on paper more athletically gifted. So I would say one guy that stands out to me that needs more attention is Kenny Willis. Kenny Willis ran 22.45 miles an hour. So he's technically the fastest guy on our team. On a forced plate, he can jump like 24 inches, which is like your hands on your hips, just jump. So he's he's jumping 35 and up on a vertical. He's gained a lot of really good weight. He has always struggled with weight. He's about 185, 188 right now. He looks the part. He was one of our most improved athletes this winter. Great guy, consistent attitude, absolutely mature. So I would say Kenny Willis has stood out this winter. Obviously, a lot of the new guys. Josh Minkins is an absolute freakazoid. Another safety. He can jump 38 inches. He can broad jump over 10, over close to 11, I believe. Strong, getting stronger, really buying into the weight room mentality. Obviously, Dante was on the list last year. Yep. He's a nothing but enhanced. He gained lean body mass. I cap him. I say stop. Like, I mean, he can squat well over 600 pounds, bench press well over 450 pounds. Any strength metric he can do. But as far as his 10 electronic time, got quicker, got more explosive. He basically gets a mile an hour faster every phase of training. So the first, I think he ran like 15 miles an hour. Then he ran 16 miles an hour. Now he's running 17 miles an hour. And then he ran over 18 miles an hour. And so he's getting faster and faster. He gained about 5 pounds of lean body mass. So he has a nothing but enhance. Obviously, Luke Kendra's an absolute freak. He looks like a professional wrestler. You cap him off. You just protect him. D'Artagnan Tinsley is incredibly impressive. Every scout comments on how he looks and how he trains and his physical measurables. He's an incredible person as well. Jack Dingle looks like a Power Ranger. I know Chad talked about it. I mean, he looks he can run. He ran 20. Okay, make that another one. He ran 21.99 miles an hour. I refuse to let him say he runs 22 because you don't. He weighs 240 pounds. He has traps coming out of his ears. He got stronger. He got faster. He got more explosive. So he's another guy that is really stepping into a leadership role. So he's another guy that is through the roof. Corey Kiner is an absolute worker. I mean, he's strong. He is diligent. Jared Bartlett, we already talked about, but just from a physique standpoint and from a twitchiness standpoint, has done a lot of impressive things. So there's a lot of guys that could be on that list right now. A lot of really impressive guys, a lot of young guys that could say, but I'm not going to toot their horn because they're freshmen and they're young. So, but just a lot of really, really our physical potential has gone up, and that comes from recruiting. And luckily for us, they train really hard, so they've gotten a lot of physical improvements as well.
Is Tyron Smith one of those guys that's touching that 22?
So Smitty comes in, and Smitty, I think, was allergic to the weight room. He's like slow. He's a nice kid, man. He's a sweet kid, but he's from Texas. He moves a little slower. He goes, "Coach, it's just the way I am." I said, "Well, whatever you are, you better crank that volume button up." And he's really bought in, man. He was like, I don't even know if I can say this. He was like under 150 pounds when he first came in, which is like, not good. And he bought in, man. He bought into training. He works very hard, and he's picked up his urgency. He's embraced training the way we train. He always comes in for extra work. He's in the 170 pounds now, so he's put on a lot of really good weight. His route running's elite. His ability to bend and move. His agility is really, really good. His 3-cone and his pro shuttle we're going to test at the end of spring ball. So I can give you metrics there, but he can do a lot of really explosive things. But the thing I like about him is his willingness to buy in. And obviously a lot of these older guys, man, like they've trained a certain way their whole career. For them to come in and be like, embrace the way we train and the intensity at which we do it. And the kind of the thoroughness, like we're not asking you to train, give you a protein shake and leave. We're asking for a full day commitment. Like we want you to come in. We want you to eat with our dietitians. We want you to come in and do, train pre-activation in the training room. We want you to train. Then we want you to go in and eat another meal. And then we want you to go into the training room again and do any maintenance or high needs. Then we want you to come back in the weight room and work your craft again, do football maintenance work, do extra weight room maintenance work. Then we want you to meet with your coach. Like we're like, because training really is what, an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. Great. What do you do in those other 22 hours? How can you maximize yourself? And I think that was a huge point of emphasis for us. And for guys to come in 4 years of football under their belt and embrace the way we kind of preach and really push the envelope. He's one of those guys that have done that. And I appreciate him. And you can tell by the way his body's changed that he's bought in and does it really at a high level.
You said Ken was technically the fastest person on the team. What does that mean that he's technically the fastest person on the team?
He's tied. He's tied with a freshman from a freshman wideout that can fly as well. And so technically he's tied. I think they both run 22.45 miles an hour. The other one would be Kale. So technically he's tied. So he's one of two that can run at that speed.
I will say this. Is Gravy Johnson skinny? Yes. Does he look like Jack Dingle when you put him next to Cale Woodburn? Also, yes.
Well, you said it too, Chad. When Dingle's walking off, you're like, what in the world? Like, Dingle looks like a Power Ranger. He looks like
his muscles have muscles.
Yeah. I mean, he's the best looking 238 to 240 pound linebacker I've been around. And he is an absolute meathead. He will run his head through a wall. He's run up the Ryan Royer category.
You were never around Ryan Royer, Nico.
Well, I've also never jumped into a running fan.
Yeah.
So that's everything I know there.
There was no jumping, just
throw him.
I still don't know how that's possible, but whatever.
They got lost into it.
I need a diagram of this running into fans, but I'm all in. That's all I need to know.
No, Nico, think of it like this. You're standing. There's two offensive linemen on each side of you, and then they pick you up and put your head in a fan.
Yeah, that's a visual. That'll do it. That's eating a fan, dude. That's putting your face into a fan. Literally.
There's no running, there's no jumping, there's no athleticism involved. It's just somebody lifts you up into a fan.
It's
and whatever
an aided
happens,
jump.
happens.
It's an aided jump. So let's just say if I could use those guys on my if I could use those guys on my vert test, man, that combine record would be going through the roof.
Oh, Jesus.
Golly.
All right. We've kept you for an hour, and I'm sure you have to get up bright and early.
I do. But as always, Aaron, I'm very grateful to be on this. So thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you guys very much, man.
We love it, brother.
Nico,
I'll see you tomorrow.
Nico, I got to get to a practice so I can pat your back.
Get away from me, dude.
Someone's got to do it.
No one's doing it. I ain't doing it. I'm not
all right,
doing
fine.
it.
I'll wait 12 practices.
12 practices, and then we got May, June, July after the season. Do that.
Fine.
Do it after our bowl game in January. How's that?
All right, fine. But a hug first.
A hug then. I'll get emotional. I'll have tears in my eyes. The Italian with a touch of Irish blood, I'll get the best.
Woo.
You know?
Woo. I'm in. Lock it in. St. Patty's Day all over again. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
You guys are the best, man.
You're the best, bro.
Love you, brother.
Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys. I'll see you hopefully at practice tomorrow, Chad. I love you guys.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Sounds good.
See you then.
See you guys.
Peace. Nico.
It just makes your whole week when you get to talk to Nico, doesn't it?
He's a great guy.
We've been so lucky between Brady and Nico just to have.
Yeah. Well, I know
coaches.
Aaron's OCD doesn't allow for 5 people in the room.
It's tough.
And I know Brent and Ryan are just going to go as long as Nico will let them talk.
Yeah.
So I don't mind when Nico's on. I get to just kind of sit back and watch. It's appreciated.
The Royer and Nico connection is elite.
It's something.
It's unlike
growing. It's a budding bromance.
It's a caterpillar ready to explode out of its cocoon into a beautiful butterfly.
Wow.
That's amore.
That's
amore.
How about that touch of Irish in his blood, man? I tell you what, little Italian Irish. Oh, that's a good little mix right there. Get the blood flowing, man. That'll get the blood flowing. So what do we want to timestamp this real quick? We can roll into the old riffing with Royer.
Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Hell yeah. Gosh, you love those player updates, by the way. I mean, that is some excitement. Chad, we talked about Ken Willis a little bit throughout the last off season and whatnot, just kind of growing and budding. Sounds like he's blowing up. That safety room, wow. Holy moly.
Ken's on my list of guys I want to talk to this spring. Like, I mean, he got thrown to the wolves. Like, it was true freshman year. Okay, you're on Tyler Scott and Trey Tucker all year.
Right.
Good luck.
Right.
Like, go get him, kid. So it'll be interesting to hear from him just on how he's grown. He's moved. He was a different position his first year under Fickle than he was last year. Now he's at a different, third position in 3 years. He is a guy I'm interested in having a chat with through spring football.
Gosh, Cale Woodburn, man. Wow. What a luxury as a
He
true
can
freshman.
fly. He can absolutely. I mean, first day of practice, I don't think guys were ready for how sudden. We talked about it that day. Yep. I mean, he blew right by 5 different dudes for long. Like, they might not have connected, but he was like considerable distance between the guy covering him on all 5, where he can fly.
That's incredible. Incredible. And Dante looks scary big. Like, scary big.
He looks like a cartoon villain. Like, he looks like a cartoon bad guy.
I mean,
but Justin always he's Bebop and Rocksteady from the Ninja Turtles. Like, they just combined him into one person.
Right.
And it's Dante Corleone.
Right. And like Royer said, man, all this does is just add to the buzz, baby. Royer, I agree. There's a little buzz around the boys right now. But obviously he's got to produce on the field. So we'll continue bringing coverage on that. But do you know what buzz also is? If Royer pounds about 4 shots of New Riff bourbon before we riff with him. But that's the buzz I'm talking about. Chad, you got that read for old New Riff?
Fiercely independent and unabashedly innovative, Brent.
Wow.
New Riff produces award-winning bourbon, rye whiskey, and gin at their distillery in Newport, Kentucky. The Aquafire tasting room, located on the 3rd floor of the distillery, features cocktails, flights, pours of New Riff's entire line of spirits, including rare, limited edition, and distillery exclusive releases. Bearcat Journal listeners can save 50% on distillery tours when you use the code BEARCATS24. For more information or to book our tour, visit newriffdistilling.com.
It's a mouthful right there, baby.
This stuff right here.
Yep.
I took that for the dads. I always try to bring something with me for a volleyball trip.
Yeah.
Had a volleyball trip last weekend.
Hey, baby. Keep it rolling, baby.
Loved it. I mean, it's honestly, their single barrel is probably the smoothest bourbon I've ever had. It's dangerous. Because it's one of those, there's supposed to be a little
right.
When you take a big gulp of bourbon. This was like, oh boy, it's gonna be trouble. I like that one.
You know what makes me do that though, Chad? The freaking Jameson, man. Golly, that.
Yeah, but Jameson isn't paying our bills, so we're not talking about them.
I agree, but man, I just had to mention it. One last St. Patty's Day reference, but Roy, I'm sure you took down quite a few JMOs on your
no,
on your weekend.
Wasn't.
Okay, good for you.
I was stuck on some Founders IPAs on the boat cruise.
Okay.
Then worked over to the Guinness.
Yep.
And then I had to do a tequila Red Bull. at the
Oh,
midday at
fire you up.
to get the energy flowing, and then back
Okay.
to the Guinness.
I'm there with you, bro. I'm there with you. But this is New River in with Royer. So that's all we're here for, baby. Let's
Yeah.
let's take it away, Ryan.
Yep. First question. Kind of to put like a wishful hope cap on the basketball season, and don't give like an obvious answer here. So
Okay.
what Bearcat basketball player from the past do you think would have solved our problems? Like don't go out and just say Kenyon Martin or Oscar Robinson, like a guy that you thought would actually fit in the lineup well and think he could have got us into the tournament, get us a couple more games this year and go dancing.
Okay.
Landers Nolly.
Yeah.
Field Williams.
Shooter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shooter
Landers
consensus.
shooter.
Tony Bobbitt.
Tony Bobbitt. Hey, baby. I love Tony Bobbitt, man. That is my dude.
SK's too high, I think, to put on this list.
Yeah. And
mean,
Jaren
Logan
probably
probably
too
is
high
too.
Yeah, Logan's too high. Jaren probably too high. Yeah, I mean, I think those names are pretty spot on. I mean, even like a Farad Cobb would have been solid.
Cobb City, baby.
You know, yeah, I mean, shoot, even Javen Cumberland for a little bit, just a marksman off the bench type player, kind of exactly what CJ Frederick would have been if not for the unfortunate injury. But yeah, no, I agree with those words. I obviously SK or Jaren or Steve Logan or Jake. Yeah, just kind of that scoring wing that can get you buckets would be the obvious picks. But
Tamar.
Lenny.
Yeah, the number 6 pick in the draft would have been nice.
Yeah, he would have been nice. Would have been real nice. But yeah, no, I think
he was at Baylor. DeMar was at Baylor, and he put the knife in Cincinnati on Friday night in Kansas City, or Thursday night in Kansas City.
Gosh, man, we're gonna touch on that in a little bit, but yeah, Royer. Do you like the answers we gave? Tony Bobbitt. Gosh, what a name, dude!
I have to admit, I don't know.
Year.
I don't know Mr. Tony Bobbitt.
Oh my gosh! I tell you what,
in my limited.
Or
yeah.
You know who we forgot? The actual answer is the one we forgot.
Lizelle Durden.
Yeah.
The gunslinger.
The gunslinger. Nice. Yeah. I mean, we can keep on going back, but yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
the gunslinger had to be mentioned. Had to be mentioned.
Had to be.
His nickname alone propelled an entire ESPN career.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Royer.
The gunslinger.
Tony Bobbitt increased my love for the Cincinnati Bearcats so much just because, like, gosh, that one year when he just would hit big shot after big shot.
He made the JUCO jump. It was his second year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. See, showed flashes that first year. Obviously, that game at Oregon, or was that at Oregon? No, I think that was a neutral court against Oregon.
Neutral, I think, yeah.
His junior year kind of was like, oh, who's this? And then senior year just made that leap. God, I love me some Tony Bobbitt. But yeah, so the non-obvious answers. There you go, Ryan.
Thanks, boys.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think Tyson Veit is most excited to coach on defense? Like, who do you think he's gravitating towards the most right now?
I'm sorry, my kid was talking. What was the question?
Said, who do you think that Tyson Veit is most excited to coach right now? Who do you think his eyes set on being like a new coach?
I would say, are we going by his position, coach?
No.
At the safety spot or just anywhere on the defense?
Just anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it not Dante?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's the one thing. They're the hardest to find.
Right.
So if you have a true space-eating nose tackle,
he's a freak. He's an alien.
Yeah.
None of what he did. He's touching 18 miles an hour. How does that much mass move at 18 miles an hour?
That's scary seeing that move. That is
okay, but you can't. There's not a lot of things you're gonna do with the nose tackle though. In terms of
I would say like a Kai Stokes or Dangle would be kind of my, just because kind of by obviously has the history of with linebackers and whatnot. So I'm sure he sees Dangle and is like, oh wow, this is the perfect mold. Let's make him a beast. But then obviously whenever you hear him talk, he talks about that that third safety position like so much. And I imagine, Chad, they've been kind of rotating, right? There's
Yeah, we don't have a real good look yet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine Kai Stokes is probably making a good case to be there, or I don't know if they'll go.
I think he's been outside when I think to where he's been lined up when I've seen him. It's
right
at safety, but I think it's been
one of the other. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I'm trying to like flip through my head and see if I remember boundary or field. Yeah. I want to say boundary, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
From all indications, can we put Bartlett into that conversation as well, as he's already started to move him around and kind of do some different things with him already than maybe what we were expecting?
Yeah, I think that's somewhat fair. I think it's also I think some of that is they were also more satisfied with what they got like on the edge.
Okay.
To where they didn't have to use him there, where they could like, if you didn't get enough of what you wanted on the edge, he would have probably had to play on the edge. But because you think you're pretty good at that spot, you've been able to give him that look at linebacker that they have.
Mm-hmm. A luxury of sorts.
Yeah, they're definitely excited about his potential and what he can become. I think they're looking at, and rightfully so, you can't be as traditional in trying to get after the quarterback as you used to be. It used to be just, we're going to line this guy up here on their left tackle, and if he beats the left tackle, we're going to have a pass rush. Unless you're just going to blitz constantly. But I think moving guys kind of into that spot. I don't know, Royer, you have should have a pretty good perspective on this would be right. Like he was a pass rusher, get to the quarterback guy that they moved to middle linebacker and allowed him to do some of those things from there.
Yeah. No, it's because not only can you put them on the edge, but they also are able to get one-on-ones with running backs, one-on-ones on interior linemen. And it's a really, really unique kind of rush game that they kind of found with B Right. And I think they kind of realized that, this doesn't have to be just a B Right thing. Like we can try to teach this scheme to like a bunch of different linebackers, and then we can just manipulate the front, manipulate the personnel for certain packages all around it. So I think if you have that skill set, then I think it's so valuable to a defense, especially on third down.
What Royer, what would you say would be like a new DC's like favorite toy that he walks in and gets? Is it just like an uber athletic DB, or is it a rough hitting strong linebacker, or is it that kind of just big burly defensive lineman?
It's going to depend on the defensive coordinator.
Like,
right.
I mean, you can't, if you're going to want a lockdown corner, especially nowadays. You're going to want a guy that you can kind of know that the offensive scheme, I feel like, is so advanced. It's just so evolving. If you can just have a guy, not like exactly like Ahmad, because Ahmad's like a once in a generation, but like a guy like who's just locked down, you can count on him so that you can kind of like shape your kind of back sevens coverage kind of towards that strength. But then if not that, then I think like an edge rusher, because not only can you get in there and and come off the edge and chase down lateral run plays, but sacking the quarterback, strip sacks, just pressure is just so important. And guys that that are going to get one-on-ones, you can find ways to make that happen.
Mhm.
And if not, then you're going to know exactly where the front is going to at all times. I think that's my bet. Mine would be lockdown corner and then an edge rusher.
Gosh, how about
A true lockdown corner is just it's so hard to find because
Yeah.
these guys there's a bunch of guys that look like corners out there. 5'11 to 6'1, 6'2, long arms, fast. Like those guys are a lot easier to find than 6'7", 280 pounds as a 16-year-old or whatever.
Right.
But until they get out there, man, corner, you just never know. It really is one of those, like, yeah, you can develop it, but for the most part, you either got that or you don't.
Yeah. I mean, look at Kobe, that 1 year, obviously, but, he kind of was getting a lot of,
Well, they put him at the boundary and he
criticism.
wasn't ready for that. Yeah,
exactly. So, but yeah, Sauce once in a generation. Get a Sauce Gardner. Any defensive coordinator will.
I don't even agree with once in a generation, guys. I legit think Sauce is a once in a lifetime. Like you're never going to hit on that guy again.
Yeah.
Alabama doesn't hit on Sauce. Right?
They tried to go with Kool-Aid, but it wasn't quite
Kool-Aid.
Sauce.
Kool-Aid was no sauce.
It wasn't.
I use generation into like a grand scheme of football, not just Bearcat.
Yeah. I'm talking this Bearcat lifetime. Like you ain't finding that again.
Yeah. No, that's like
that's like landing the best ever center and the best ever tight end in the history of the sport.
Yeah, it's kind of
Hunter,
weird.
thank you. Lower bowl ticket secured, ready to get wild and rowdy. Love to hear it.
Oh, baby. God damn. I agree. But yeah, Royer.
It's awkward. Don't do that.
Royer,
it's awkward. Like
Hey,
it makes
man.
all of us awkward.
I'm here, baby.
When you go,
I'm here.
oh, yeah, baby. Like, what is
Let's
it doing?
go. Let's go. It's the man. It's the St. Patty still talking. I'll tell you that much. Royer, let's go. Next question.
I only got 2 this week.
Only 2 this week. Okay.
I was trying to do another football one. I feel like I've asked there's only so much that we really know right now, and I could just go predict the score of the game, or what do you think the record's going to be? Yeah,
let's go with a miscellaneous one. You got a miscellaneous one for us?
Okay. One category of food to eat the rest of your life.
Okay. Pizza.
Category meaning what type of or what what's the word?
Do I get Italian? Just Italian?
Yeah, Italian, Chinese, Spanish, Mexican,
American,
French.
Does
American,
pizza fall in American or Italian?
It's Italian.
All right.
Not the way we eat it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, American would be what? Burgers, fries,
fried chicken,
fries,
barbecue,
fried chicken, barbecue.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, if I get fried chicken and barbecue along with burgers and dogs,
yeah.
I mean, I love Italian food. I love Mexican food. I love Chinese food. But if one genre is going to include burgers, dogs, barbecue, and fried chicken, all the other ones are, I'm going to miss you. Like we still get mac and cheese with American food.
Yeah.
That can be my Italian fix.
That's your noodles. Those are your noodles.
I got noodles. Yeah. I got noodles.
And pasta salad too. You get a little pasta salad.
I'm going
American.
Mexican all day. Give me
Okay.
Give me the chorizos and what have you in the morning.
Tacos, quesadillas.
I love Mexican. They would be third on my list.
I love Mexican.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I gotta go. I love pizza.
I made a nice baked ziti tonight, Royer.
Oh yeah.
Do you do? Are you? Do you
Meat
guys?
sauce?
You're not. You're not old enough to Costco yet, are you, Ryan?
No, I don't Costco.
So I was strolling through Costco because Kelsey gets all of her lunch stuff from there. She takes like the little mini muffins for breakfast and has a couple, snacks that she likes to put in her lunch thing. So I go to Costco like once a month. Rayo's Calabrian chili marinara sauce.
Rouse.
No, I think it's Rayo's.
Is it Reyes? I
think
always
so.
call it Rouse.
Yeah, it's
Rams
it's
is so
Rio.
expensive. It's so expensive.
so-
It's so
Aaron,
good. It's
It is
so
Aaron,
good.
the best non-homemade sauce you can get.
Yes.
So
sir.
it was 2 jars basically for the price of what you would pay for 1 jar at Kroger.
Like the 48
And it
ounce
was-
or the 32 ounce.
I think well, hold on.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
I just
Let's
did
go
it.
get that.
Their arrabbiata sauce is amazing.
Oh
So
yeah.
you mean to tell me I
get that
go
all
up?
the time.
I go up to these grocery store people and I said, "Where's your Rouse at?" And I just saying it wrong the whole time.
In Indiana,
Rams.
it's probably acceptable.
Okay, fair.
This stuff,
Yeah, Rouse.
22 ounces.
I haven't seen the gold label.
Yeah,
I know it's only at Costco.
What does that say under it? The club? What is
Calabrian chili.
that? Oh wow.
Real Italian
No,
chilies in there.
that is a lot different. They don't have
Oh,
that
it's-
one in the. They don't
No,
have
you
the
have to go to
arrabbiata with that kind. Yeah,
It is awesome. Awesome.
that's all.
And I
yeah.
used it tonight on a baked ziti. I take a pound of Italian sausage, Ryan, and instead of grounding it up, I make it into like tiny little meatballs.
Oh
And
yeah.
then put the tiny little meatballs in the sauce. Let the sauce cook with the tiny meatballs to mix it, and then bake it.
Get
It's
a
pretty
little
damn
meat
good.
flavor in the sauce.
Hey
Pretty damn good.
baby.
Woo.
Pretty
You
damn
get that
good.
fresh mozzarella on top?
Close.
Shredded
Yeah.
matzo.
Shredded. Yeah.
Dude, that you got to get the I love I'm trying to remember the brand of it. Where you get the the log and you
Yeah.
you slice it yourself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that stuff's so much better.
Oh, it's so good.
Ryan, do you TikTok?
I do.
Are you familiar with Juno?
No.
Juno.
The
No.
movie. Okay.
No, it is it's a young lady that goes to Rutgers and lives in Jersey, and her parents own a pizza restaurant, and she makes pizza.
Oh,
She's pretty good at it.
that's why.
She's very good at it.
That's that's
Very
that's
good
it,
at
and
it.
That's all.
That's
There
all.
we
That's
go.
all.
It's just an American Italian making pizza. I love that. Juno. No free
Ryan's
ads.
looking it up right now.
No free
Juno.
ads.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
No
Let's
free
see.
ads.
Gabagool over here.
Gabagool. No free ads, but yeah, Juno. Check it out. All right. Well, that was good. That was good riffing. That was some good riffing time. Royer, is your pick Italian? Is that the easiest answer out there?
I just found the page. Yeah, she knows what she's doing. A lot of lip singing, a lot of posing, not a lot of making to start off. It looks like. Okay, there she
No,
goes.
the
Now
focus
she's
is
actually
more
doing
on.
something.
Oh, she actually makes the pizza, but the focus is more on the performance.
Okay.
Yeah, she's doing good. She's got 1.8 million followers.
Okay.
I think I saw
Yeah.
somebody break it down. She's making like $40,000 a month making pizzas on TikTok.
You know what? Hey,
We need to do a pizza segment.
I don't think
Oh.
we're gonna have as many people watching.
Chad, did you ever see the when we got do you know the Cooking with Daryl guy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you see when we got him to do the video? with Coach
No,
Vic?
I did not. No.
You haven't seen this?
I don't know. I might have.
We got him to make chili for the playoff game, and then we take a video of me, Coach Vic Burton, and Will Adams going, "Are you kidding me?" And it's in
Wait, is it Jumo or Juno?
It might be an M. I don't know.
June
Jumo.
Jumo. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
Oh, interesting. Oh wow, yeah, she's pizza.
Oh wow, yeah, she cooks pizza.
All right, well, yeah, this
Pizza
is
good.
great. This is great podcasting. That was ripping with Royer, and Roy, are you taking Italian? Is that your answer?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'll roll with you.
You're giving up burgers. You're giving up Skyline. No
I
Skyline
love
ever
burgers,
again, Ryan.
man. I know, but
No fried chicken ever again. Well, I guess like chicken parm is fried chicken.
Yeah, chicken cutlets.
yeah, the cutlets, Chad.
Come on now.
That means, Chad, we get all the Italian American stuff too, right?
We do now.
Yeah, but
Like
you should get that. You should
Rizzoli.
get that for the American stuff too, right?
Yeah, damn. Wait, that is kind of true. We're gonna have to have a war.
Yeah.
With
Whoever wins the
Mexican,
war.
do you get the Tex-Mex with Mexican?
No,
I guess Mex is in
Just
the
refried
title.
beans.
Yeah.
just
saying.
refried beans. That's it.
Let's timestamp.
Let's timestamp this.
All right. That timestamp is brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They provide mostly disposable restaurant supplies, products like to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins, etc. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick, 513-470-2029, and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Yeah, Matt Lanham, man. Yeah, good point. A little OT while we were on the food topic.
We got a question about it. We'll get there.
Okay.
It's in the mailbag, bro.
About Skyline
We'll
Chili?
mailbag it. Yeah.
It's in the mailbag.
Oh,
It is
okay.
the big topic in Cincinnati today.
It is.
There is no topic bigger than Skyline.
And there was the chance for the other company.
We will get there.
All right. Thank you.
Patience.
Thank you.
Patience,
But,
Grasshopper. We're
man.
already at an hour and a half, and we haven't even got to basketball, the NIT, or the mailbag.
Yeah, well, the mailbag is extremely light. That'll take like 5 minutes. All right.
Never takes one question takes 5 minutes.
68-56 final score. Baylor over the Bearcats. We're not going to really talk too much about this game in particular, although that there's 4 minutes left. Ball is out of bounds off of Baylor. They don't review it. They don't not review. They don't come together and discuss who they thought they were off of. It was just immediately Baylor's ball. Aziz Bandeo gets a monster block, and then before you know it, a little baseline out of bounds, a little blob to end all blobs. Finds you know the rest of it, Chad. It was a sad finish. Seeing Jacoby Walter nail that triple right as the shot clock was expiring. So that proved to be pretty much the dagger, if you will. 4 minutes left, pushed a 4-point lead up to 7. But I guess we'll go around the horn. Just your overall collective thoughts of the first Big 12 basketball tournament for the Bearcats. It was fun. But unless you're NC State and playing in the ACC, it's very hard to win 5 games in 5 days. Chad, just overall thoughts of first Big 12 tournament.
I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't have an overwhelming firsthand experience. But from afar, Kansas City looks like an awesome place to hold the event. I don't get the move the tournament thing. If you find a place that becomes synonymous with your tournament, don't screw with it. Like, everywhere is going to have advantages in terms of especially in a conference like this, where it literally is, it's going to be coast to coast starting next year.
Mm-hmm.
Find the place that fits, find the place that embraces and accepts the event,
right? And
have the tournament there. It's worked for the Big East for how many years? Madison Square Garden. You know the deal. The Big Ten, bounces around. The ACC used to only be in Greensboro, but now it bounces around a little bit. Like, no, just have the damn thing in Kansas City. It's well attended. Look, we have been to a place where even when it was in Memphis, which everybody should want to go to, because Memphis is a lot of fun, especially if you're staying right there by the arena on Beale Street. There's a crap ton to do before the game. There's a crap ton to do after the game. You don't have to get a ride. You don't have to do anything. And those crowds look nothing like the crowds in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like, it's what we love about this conference. Do a couple schools get more benefit than others? Sure. That's life, man. Get over it. Quit being a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, from just an overall view like that, definitely. I think Temple had, like, someone tweeted out that the official attendance for one of their games down at Old Dickey's Arena was 37 fans, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So, like, yeah, don't just put it in a random spot. Just pick one and roll with it. Which it seems like KC is working out pretty damn well for the Big 12.
Yeah, it looked like a great event. Cincinnati once again showed that they belong in this conference. They get to the quarterfinals in year one. I would suggest in year two not avoiding that whole Tuesday thing. Yeah, it's going to be real tough to skip Wednesday, but the goal for next year should be to start on Wednesday.
Yep.
That's a lot easier than starting on Tuesday. So yeah, that would be lesson number one from this process. But look, I thought the team played well. I thought they battled their ass off. They won 2 games, one of them in miracle fashion, the other one in fortunate fashion, getting Kansas all the way down to the 6th seed with their 2 best players out. Cincinnati did what you should do. They built a big lead. Kansas made a little run. They instantly pushed that lead back out and then added on it all the way to the end to win by 20. That's what you do against a team that's undermanned. They fought like hell against Baylor. Baylor was just better. Like, I don't know what else you can say about that game. Were there moments? Yeah. Did Cincinnati have an opportunity down 4 and they almost get a stop, but then Jacoby Walter bangs a 3 with a hand right in his face? Yeah, that's why you recruit a lottery pick. I would suggest doing more of that. Like DeMar, go get DeMar.
Smart.
DeMar would have hit that shot, Aaron. They would have passed it to DeMar, and he would have shot that shot right in some guy's face.
Yep.
And the other team,
he was good.
The other team would have said, "Damn, I wish we had one of those lottery pick guys."
I agree.
But
Aaron,
good first look. Good first run.
It was. Aaron, any your overall reactions to the games and the whole event itself?
I mean, it would have been nice over the course of the season if Cincinnati had figured out how to win home games, how to string a winning streak before the very end of the season together, because that would have been crucial in getting that Tuesday off as opposed to the Wednesday.
Right.
I think that the staff, the players, especially the returning players, they had plenty to learn from. And if they weren't learning, then I don't know what you're doing at this point. But I don't know. This you can't go into. We're in year 3 of a complete overhaul of this program, and you can't go into a transition such as this and expect to have Houston's results without what Houston has been doing over the course of the last several seasons. So do I think that they met expectations? I think they came up just shy of expectations. I think that they left some things on the table. Am I glad they're going to be playing in the NIT? Yes, because there's still some unfinished business for this team. I'm of the mindset that any more Bearcats basketball that you can give me to A, make some money on, and B, enjoy watching, not necessarily in that order, I am all for it. But I mean, I'm not ready to watch this team die on the vine quite yet.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I think that they have been putting together their best basketball the last month or so. And I think that they're probably going to make some noise in this tournament. And shame on those other teams that were qualified to make this tournament and turn their nose up at it.
We'll touch on that. We'll get there.
I'll say this straight up. If your team wants to play, play.
Yeah.
If your team doesn't want to play, don't. Like, I think it's I think if you're in a situation where you have a team that's ready to be done with the season, let them be done with the season. I don't.
How often do you think that happens, though? How realistically, how often do you think that happens? I think you're right. I would not think that would happen very often.
No, I think it happens more than you think. I
That's
think
what
there
I'm
are
saying.
teams
I'm saying I think you're
end.
right. That you're right that I probably am of the mindset of everything's happy and everybody wants to continue to play for something. But
there are other teams where guys don't get along, especially in the transfer portal era.
Yeah.
Where things don't click. Like, we all like to think that.
Yeah.
Well, and guess what? They all say the right things. Like, you're never going to hear a coach be like, man, these guys just fucking hate each other.
Except Rick Pitino.
Well, he was like, I hate coaching these guys. That didn't mean that they didn't click as a team.
He fired him up, though.
Yeah. But, like, that's sports, man. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Yeah. Like, sometimes you're just ready to be done. And that doesn't mean you're out on the school or you're not coming back next year. It just means for this particular version of your team, I'm out. I'm good. Like, let's get started on next year. Let's get better. Other teams want to play. They want to keep their season going. They enjoy the brotherhood and the camaraderie that they have. They maybe have an understanding that, like, next year I don't get to play with this team, even if there's guys back. There's new guys coming in, and there's a different dynamic, and we have to figure it out.
Seniors leaving, maybe you want to play for those guys.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, look, the debate is stupid. It's dumb. If a team wants to play, play. If a team feels like emotionally devastated because they ended Oklahoma finished one spot out of the tournament, and they played
with 5 bid stealers that took bubble
and they played the last 3 weeks without their best player.
Yep.
Like, they win one more game and they are in. If Oklahoma's like, fuck this, man, I'm done with this shit. Like, I understand that. I ain't mad at them. I probably would be mad as hell too.
Right.
But if your team feels like there's some benefit and they want to keep going and they want to keep practicing and they want to keep putting in the work, let them try to go win the NIT.
I guess that's the difference between a team that's getting ready to enter the SEC and, other programs that are not going to have fuck you money like Oklahoma.
Right. They don't care. I don't know. Like, if you're not going to watch it, great. Don't watch. Like, okay. Yeah. The people that are going to watch it, great. Watch. Like, it brings you joy. Like I said, Saturday or Sunday or whenever I said it, like, I just know it was Thursday after the loss. I don't understand the mentality of, like, I don't want to watch my team anymore. Yeah. Unless they were awful. Unless they were, like, it was a dreadful slog through the season.
Right.
And you're just like, man, I don't even, one more guy, these guys. But I don't think this team was exhausting.
No.
I thought it was a team that was entertaining and fun to watch, and they fought their ass off. And I think they're worth, if they're going to keep playing, for you to keep watching. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on all this.
Nah, I don't think. Like 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say, oh, we beat Kansas by 20 points. Yes, that's right. Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawks by 20 points. And everyone's not going to harp on the whole, these players out, this, that, and the other. It's just going to be, wow, that was a 20-point win against Kansas. And you're telling me you want to see that team just like stop playing. I'm on the side where, and I understand the other side that wants to like stop it so that teams can get into the portal, so that coaches can start their end of the year visits with each player, just start that process as quickly as possible. But I don't think that's where this team is. It doesn't seem like this team is at all close to wanting to close up shop and have those end of the year meetings and make the next move from there. I think it's more you see like Indiana rejected it. Well, there's turmoil all around the Indiana program. Obviously, they're going to reject it. Like you said, Oklahoma and St. John's. I'm sure. Yeah, Pitino's probably ready to figure out the next step for them to try and get back to the tournament. Memphis is another like disarray thing. Ole Miss. It's just for me. It's just this is a team for the most part where you have a senior leader in John Newman that obviously the whole team has been able to rally around, and then you have a lot of pieces that want to continue to get better and build as a team. The only negative outcome, and knock on wood, would be like some injury, but that could happen in a pickup game. It just
Right.
The whole thing. And plus, Chad, I think you mentioned it somewhere, but you have 5 bench coaches, assistants right now, and you're telling me that they aren't going to be able to kind of allocate different things that those coaches would be in charge of during a regular off season if the season ended
Right.
abruptly.
Well,
go ahead.
Like if you want Drew Adams and Andre Morgan to recruit,
Right,
then they can recruit, and you
Yeah.
still have Chad Dollar and Josh Leffler and
Thielen.
Jake Thielen to do the assistant work, to
Right.
work on the scout, to get practice ready, to run practice. Like you're not at a point, and in the past when you only had 3 assistants, it could be difficult, especially if you're playing a road game. Now you got to travel. But let's also be honest, we're not at a point right now where like visits are being set up yet, unless you've got a kid in the bag. Kids just started entering the portal today. So you've got a couple days where your staff can work and get the lay of the land and figure things out and start contacting guys that, they have connections to that enter the portal. And you can still have plenty of people preparing your team for Wednesday night at 9:00. Did I mention that sucks? But
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
9 p.m. on Wednesday.
yeah. Are you coming?
That's the plan, man. But golly, that's
Golly. You're going to be working from Cincinnati Thursday morning.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm still I'm a college basketball fan, so I'm still like primed and ready for Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So flopping
Also
an
an avid gambler.
flopping
Right.
a 9 p.m. Wednesday on me is like, oh my gosh, jeez.
Do you have Thursday off?
I mean, I can, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, for me, it's more so like you're telling me you want to stop seeing the continued evolution of Day, Thomas's 3-point jumper. You want to stop seeing the continued evolution of Dan Skillings Jr. Into a bona fide strong player. You don't want to see Aziz Bandago swap a couple more shots. I mean, come on, it's just. I'm in the side where it's like, okay. And also I think you probably don't enter the NIT if you don't think you have a good chance to win the whole thing. If you think, oh, well, we're kind of walking wounded and don't really feel good about our chances, then you probably will be like, no, I'm not gonna do the NIT thing. I think it would hurt the team more than it would help. But no, I mean, this team was clicking. They were clicking as things went on. And so I think it's the main thing would be just continue to try and ride that momentum. I mean, I'm excited to watch them play. I had so much fun watching that Big 12 tournament, even though, the second half of that Baylor game went the wrong way. But it was fun. And now you got a good chance to win that damn NIT. You got a good chance to play all games relatively close to Cincinnati. Why not? It's nothing crazy. going on with it. And so I'm all for it. Royer, what are your thoughts on the NIT? That's what everyone wants to know.
I mean, I'm not really. It would be nice just to see the guys go out there and try hard and play, but I honestly don't give a shit. I want to see them win, yeah, but I'm not like gonna be nearly as upset when they lose a game in the NIT than I was on Thursday, or was that Friday? Thursday, but I mean, it's just kind of like I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean,
yeah,
it is kind of like what's the word?
Consolation.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's embarrassing, kind of, in my opinion.
It's like
Just
making the Fenway Bowl.
Yeah, was it
Yeah.
embarrassing that you guys made a regular bowl?
When you, yeah, it was embarrassing. We had fun.
Okay.
Well, when we made the Birmingham Bowl,
Yeah,
it
that was a
fun.
shit bowl.
Yeah,
That's the NIT of bowl games.
Yeah, we had fun, but if you were to say, oh, if we would have beat fucking Memphis, we would have been in the Cotton Bowl playing Penn State. Yeah, it's kind of like the same. It's kind of similar. So we could have beat.
Yeah. We could have won our way into a much bigger platform,
Yeah,
but we didn't. So now we got to go to fucking Birmingham for a weekend, for a couple of days.
It'd be one thing if we didn't have, if it was just like we didn't have the potential to be there, and we even had the potential to win versus Baylor.
Yeah,
it's just like the story of our season, and I think it's setting up higher expectations, and they got to find a way to deliver them next year, because it's tournament or bust next year.
Sure,
if they don't make the tournament. I mean,
I think everybody knows that. Like, I don't think that's some profound like statement. I think Wes knows that. Like,
yeah,
there's no reason they shouldn't.
I've gotten close. I've got a good roster in place. It's time to be better.
And and like in a weird way as well, competing and continuing to go out and try and win basketball games, which I think this team is obviously going to do. I don't think it's a team that is going into this NIT at all as like a as like a whatever happens type ordeal. I think they genuinely want to go out there and win it. I think what that does, it just further builds the connection that the core has, the core that they could return next year. And I think, as you see today, my notifications haven't stopped with players entering the transfer portal. Imagine if you're a team that says we're done playing, and you're sitting back on social media and just seeing all of these players enter the transfer portal. Instead,
that sounds like a terrible way to manage your notifications, to have notifications set for every time any players enters the portal.
It's literally just the big names in college basketball and verbal commits, but and they're kind of just going all off.
Yeah,
but,
I would turn a couple of those off for the next 45 days.
I tell you what, it's pretty exciting seeing some of the names pop up. So I'm going to leave it on, and I don't quite care because notifications are fun. Like, look at that guy. He must be some popular guy.
That's all he just has. He picks the account with the most tweets and turns on the notification so his phone
bang,
is
bang,
constantly.
Bang, bang. It's Trilly.
It's Trilly.
But also, I mean, don't you agree with that though? It's just prolonging everything in hopes that you're able to go out and win a doggone championship. I understand what you're saying, Royer, because
it's not prolonging anything.
It's prolonging the end of the season. That's all I'm saying. It's just making having the ability to continue to play together. Believe me, Roy, I'm as pissed off as anyone that the Bearcats aren't playing in the NCAA tournament. It's my favorite thing every damn year, and to not have a minute again for another year, it does piss you off. But if the other option is just packing up and saying no more Cincinnati Bearcat basketball until next November, then I take the fire. I take watching.
That's my thing. Like, the alternative is not seeing your team play again for 6 months.
Yeah.
Just win the damn thing.
I'll take watching my team play.
Win the damn thing. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, golly, that bracket, there's so much to talk about there, but we're not doing that here. So game one is San Francisco, the Dons. You know what? A pretty crazy stat about the Dons, and we're not diving too much about them. Keegan had a article up kind of previewing what San Francisco brings, but so they have 10 losses. They're 23-10. 8 of those 10 losses are in the quad 1. They are 1-10 in quad 1 and 2. So that's where all 10 of their losses. They're 21-0 in quad 3 and 4. So no bad losses. Obviously, the Bearcats on a neutral court is a quad 1 game. So it's a team that has not really been tested too much, playing in the WCC, but it's a team that has some talent and have been able to play some teams really well, especially St. Mary's and Gonzaga in their conference. So the Dons. First impressions out of you guys as San Francisco, Wednesday 9 p.m.
I mean, for me, it's pretty simple. If this team is locked in defensively and they play with maximum effort on that end, I don't see any way they don't comfortably win this game playing at home.
Right.
San Francisco does have a pretty good defense. I think they're top 30-ish in defense. They've got some guys that can hurt you offensively, but they don't have a bunch of consistency on that front. I think they're in the 70s.
Yeah, they're 97 in offensive efficiency.
Or 97, yeah. I knew
39th defensive.
Somebody say Niner. So I think it's a situation where if the defense comes out to make a statement, they can lock down San Francisco. And if they do, it should be a nice, comfortable first round win. If they come out and they're a step slow defensively, as we've seen on rare occasions, it has not been, often, but when they have been a step slow on defense, it's been evident. It's been abundantly clear.
Yeah.
TCU, Oklahoma State, West Virginia to open like the first 25, 30 minutes of that game. If they come out like they did against Baylor, San Francisco's really going to struggle to score.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. A homecoming of sorts. Yeah. Aaron, go ahead.
If they struggle with this team at home, then this is not the team who I thought they were.
Yeah. I mean, San Francisco gave Boise State a game on the road. They gave St. Mary's a game on the road. They gave Gonzaga a game on the road. So I mean, they put up fights against tournament teams.
Sure, but those teams are not Big 12 teams.
I mean, they're NCAA tournament teams. They're
okay.
They're better than a lot of Big 12 teams.
There's 68 of them, and some of them got in on some bids and what have you. That just because you made the tournament doesn't necessarily mean you're a top 68 team in the country. Say what you want. That said, again, you're a 2 seed going up against a 7 seed. This team should take care of business without any type of issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Kent Baum's got it at a 75-68, a victory for the Bearcats. What is it? 27% loss. So that's 73% for the win for the Bearcats coming out on top. So then obviously you get the winner of that Bradley and Loyola Chicago game, and that would then be on the 24th of March. So it
looks like it did
Sunday game. Yeah,
both of those have things the storylines that could be very interesting.
Yeah, they do.
Looks like it did open up at 7.5, and it's already moved to 6.5.
You have Bradley, former home of Drew Adams.
Yeah,
Drew helped construct a pretty large part of that roster.
Yeah.
Or you have Loyola Chicago, with former UC assistant Sean Dwyer on the
Who
staff.
rec-
Sean,
who recruited?
who recruited Victor Lockett.
Yeah. Connections. Wild.
So, some intrigue as we go. And
Yeah.
then we'll see with Indiana State. Like,
That'd be funny again. Super secret scrimmage from
head back to Terre Haute
yep.
for a third round game. I don't think they make it that far.
Yeah, I mean that Minnesota, Butler. I mean, even SMU is a pretty doggone good team this year.
Yeah,
it's tough.
That
It'll be tough.
Their coach was talking to St. Louis. Like,
Yeah,
they didn't. Cinderella didn't even get to go to the ball.
Yeah,
she had to stay home and sweep the floors.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not going to be able
that's
to,
a tough
to
spot for them to immediately pick back up the intensity. And like you said, SMU is going to be a tough game for them. And then you get Minnesota or Butler.
Missouri Valley Jokic might not even be able to make it out of the first round. We'll see. But if that's the case, and what home games for UC all the way to the Final Four, if they were to make it that far, obviously.
And then the championship this year, Final Four is in Indy.
Historic
Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. The Butler Bulldogs. Which is wild. I didn't know that until the selection show yesterday. So
can Keegan sleep at the foot of your bed?
Keegan can sleep wherever he wants to. Come on, bring it on, Keegan. I told him to stop by on his way to KC on the drive, and he said no. So we'll see. We'll see how much I can try to convince him.
He was doing 35 miles at a time and stopping to recharge the car, and then another 35 miles, and then recharging the car.
Okay.
Another 35 miles and recharging the car.
That's one way to.
It's a long trip home. It's a long trip home.
One way to make it. Anything more basketball wise? Obviously, we're gonna have more to talk about, and we'll have a season wrap up when the whole thing is all said and done. But for now, that's what you got. Bearcats in the NIT. They continue to play. March, second straight year in the NIT. Why not go out and win it this time? So, go ahead and timestamp, and we'll mailbag it up.
Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, a wide range of food service products, to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby.
Across Town Part 2, no, neither of those teams have been consistent enough to rip off a meeting in the semifinals. I think it would be.
That would be
the finals, the championship game. Then absolutely not, Ron.
They got to go Georgia, Wake Forest, probably Ohio State, and then probably Seton Hall or Princeton.
Yeah, no. How about our boy Ryan? Where are you at? He's pooping or something.
Hard-boiled egg or popcorn. Popcorn, right?
Ryan.
I forgot to unmute myself. My bad. I'm here.
Is Cade Pierce going to transfer to UC?
That would be epic. I hope. I gotta get on the horn and talk to the boy.
Player of the year in the Ivy League as a sophomore?
Beast.
Unbelievable. That family is ridiculous. The athletic ability of the mom and that family is off the charts.
Greg did a great job just being supportive and
staying out of the way.
Being a great dad. playing a hell of a bass.
Unreal.
It stinks that they didn't make it. But
they lost to my brother's Brown Bears.
Yeah.
How about Brown, man? Well, and then Brown, did you watch the end of that game? That was
they blew a heartbreaking lead with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
What about the end of the Akron Kent State game? My goodness.
Who's this kid we're talking about? We're talking about Cade Pierce, his older brother Alec. Played a little bit of football for the Bearcats. He was pretty good. And is one of Ryan's best friends. So we're not actually. I mean, if Cade goes in the portal, I'm sure UC will call.
6.4 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, 3.2 assists, shot 34.2% from three.
Yeah. If you were around when he was a recruit, I talked a lot about Cade Pierce because I thought he was a winner.
You did? Yeah.
You want to know who screwed that? Loyola Chicago screwed that up majorly.
Yeah. Because wasn't he like committed there pretty much? And then
no, they wouldn't really recruit him. They didn't think he was good enough.
Wow.
Oops.
Oh, who was it? Braden Huff was his teammate.
Yeah,
right?
he played with Braden Huff and the white kid that went to Duke, guard that went to Duke.
Yup.
All right. Mailbag?
Yep. Mailbag it.
Okay.
All right. Only one question in the football portion of the mailbag this week. What is the spring practice schedule for this week and next week? Thanks.
This week is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We get a scrimmage on Saturday. And then next week is back to the normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday until the week of the spring game.
Boom.
There you go.
There you are. All right, that ends the football portion of the mailbag. We got plenty of football talk the first hour of this show. So moving on to the basketball portion. Which of the following had the biggest impact on UC's non-conference scheduling issues this year? Number one, strategy went weaker on purpose. Number two, surprise, Mike Roberts' unexpected departure led to balls dropped. Or number three, support, straight up could not afford to schedule much better than they did.
I mean, I think the answer is in part all three.
Yeah.
They went weaker on purpose, knowing you were replacing 6 of your 7 guys. You had no idea if John Newman was going to be John Newman. Like, you knew who you thought John Newman could be, but no idea. So I think in November, especially, like, you had to have an easier November to try to get this team, some semblance of experience together.
Yeah. You also didn't know if you were going to have your 2 5s.
Right. Mike Roberts leaving did hurt some because he was in charge of the schedule. So, that's going to cause some issues. And then I know when they got to the Howard game, like, they didn't have enough money to buy another game. So they needed a road game. They had something else that they thought they had worked out that didn't come through. So they had to scramble, and they ended up going to play a game at Howard, and then Howard will be here this year in the return game. So I think it's a combination of all three. I'm interested to see even next year, like, you go to 20 and you've already got Xavier, you've got Georgia Tech. You're going there next year. They should be better. So it's going to be interesting. That's, you've got 20 games. You've got those 2 games scheduled. Howard is coming here. We'll see what happens with the NKU series, if that's played or not, or continued or not. And then an MTE, which, who's in charge of the schedule now? I think it's kind of more of a collaborative than it was. Roberts had so many years experience at his previous stops where, like, he was the schedule guy. So I think you're kind of working, Thielen has some input. I'm sure Loeffler has some input. And you try to work the contacts you've got to put the non-conference together. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there's still 2 ways to look at it. Let's face it. If this team goes 9-9 or 10-8 in the Big 12, the non-conference schedule didn't matter. They're in the tournament. Maybe it matters the seed line, sure. But if you win enough, when in the games that the 18 games that are going to be largely all high level quad 1, quad 2 games, then it doesn't matter what you did in the non-conference. If you leave it up to chance and you don't win enough, you can find yourself on the outside looking in. So we'll see. I think it will be interesting to see what they've gathered from year one and what they do to adjust or modify how things look in year two.
Do you know if they're doing any of that? Like because I know they're getting rid of the Big 12 SEC challenge.
I don't know. The Big 12 Big East challenge is still a thing.
Yeah,
they weren't in it last year, so I would assume it would make sense that they're in it this year, especially because they played pretty well. They didn't, fall flat on their face and win 2 Big 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think they would be in line for one of those, but I don't know that for a certainty. That's just me guesstimating.
Yeah.
All right. I know a scoring combo guard is likely what the staff will go after in the transfer portal, but could you see a situation where they go after a scoring wing like a Landers Nolly or AJ Store and start both Day and Jizzle? Potential lineup of Day, Jizzle, transfer wings, Skillings, Aziz with CMOS first off the bench.
Here's why I don't think they would do that is because then you're playing your 2-point, you're relying on your 2-point guards to be your 1 and 2. You still in that situation, even if they found and if they found a wing that they thought could get them 17 points a night in the Big 12, then you add that guy but you still would have to add a guard to that mix because you cannot go into a season with 2 guards to play 2 spots. Just not going to work. So if that were the case, then they would need another spot to get a guard because you have to have one.
Yeah, I think you also showed that you can go with that 2-guard lineup, but I think you're kind of handicapping yourself if you do it right from the get-go.
No, I mean you can't do it if you don't have another guard.
Right, exactly. So I'm just saying, I'm saying that, I think there's probably gonna be some lineups next year that features them both on the court at the same time, but I think you're definitely gonna be looking for that combo scorer, bucket getter, and instead of another wing to throw into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying if they found a wing that was like the number one,
because
the guy. That's the only reason they would take a wing,
right?
Is if you feel like you have your number one option now, and then you have to readjust, but you still at that point have to go get another guard, to help out. So, would they? Sure. Does it change the formula for everything else? Yeah, it does.
All right. Somebody in the chat said Javon Small, who just entered the portal. So
Javon, I think
wouldn't hate that.
I would not be surprised to see Cincinnati's name pop up with him. I do have a little bit of concern with him, which I've expressed on the board. If you want to read that, go to bearcatjournal.com.
With the idea that the league goes 20 conference games next year, it's not an idea. That's a thing that's happening. How do you map out non-conference, especially with X, Howard, at Georgia Tech, and at NKU on the books?
Again, so let's say you have X. So you got 31 games to work with. 20 of them are going to be Big 12 games. So you have 11 non-conference games to work with. X, Georgia Tech. Let's say hypothetically there's a Big East Big 12 Challenge game that you're in. That takes you down 11, 10, 9. So you'd have 8 games remaining to fill. You're going to want 6 to 7 of those games at home. So those are going to be your bye games, 6 or 7 bye games. And then you'd have one more potentially. You'd have the MTE. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a legit MTE, then you're talking those 3 games, 2 games at an MTE, I would guess. I don't know that you would do 3 this year just because of the way the schedule is set up and you're adjusting to 20 games in the Big 12. That would give you 6 more games to work with. Those would probably all be bye games.
I hope they get Dayton back on the books. I'd be happy to see Dayton back on the books.
Is Deron Holmes still there? If not, bring him on.
Agreed.
And that is the basketball portion of the mailbag. The last portion of the mailbag, the banks. What is a bigger lie you tell yourself? You will have time in the morning to fill up your gas tank and not be late for work, or that Skyline will be the same without Pepsi products. It was the biggest story around Cincinnati today, as Skyline and ultimately, I think a lot of people found out that Gold Star as well have switched from Pepsi to Coke.
So here's the crazy thing. You guys know I'm a Dixie Chili guy, like from birth. Dixie Chili was right down the street from my house, so I always said Dixie Chili, which is Northern Kentucky's entrance into the Cincinnati chili ring. Always Coke with Dixie Chili. That's what I grew up on. But I don't know that I've ever had Skyline without a Mountain Dew. I don't know that there's ever been once in my life, and I've eaten a lot of Skyline chili, that I've had Skyline chili without a Mountain Dew. Peas and carrots, peanut butter and jelly, like you name it, Skyline and Mountain Dew is up there.
Yeah. Synonymous.
The other thing is I don't work in the morning, so I never have to worry about filling up my gas tank in the morning.
Well,
Mellow Yellow is not Mountain Dew. Don't get it twisted.
No, it is not.
And kind of exactly what Aaron said. Like Gold Star had a chance to really like gain a bunch of new fans.
Plant their flag. Yeah.
If they kept Mountain Dew, like literally just blow up all the ads, say Mountain Dew, and instead they come out later and they announce, yep, we're joining Coke too. It's like, all right. Major drop in the ball.
I don't, and look, I won't stop eating Skyline, but I might start bringing my own Dew.
I wonder if they'd
I get a cup of ice with a can of Dew in my pocket. But
Yeah.
I don't ever eat at Skyline. It's always drive-through. So I'll just have to stop somewhere and get a Dew.
To go.
Yeah. Or I have them usually at my house.
I wonder if this ends up going the same way that Frisch's went, where they had
when they got rid of vanilla. They got rid of vanilla Coke. That's what this was all about. They were like vanilla Coke. It wasn't about regular Coke. It wasn't about Sprite. It was that they couldn't give people vanilla Coke because Pepsi is shit and nobody wants vanilla in their Pepsi.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
And they had to go back to Coke, Aaron. They had to.
Yeah.
The market demanded it. They were losing money.
Well, I would think that it would be cheaper. Traditionally, like Pepsi is not at the same level as Coke, so I would think it would be cheaper. I don't know whose brainchild this was. Like, well, we need Coke. We need to switch things up.
Right.
What?
Don't your records show that everybody gets Skyline and Mountain Dew?
Like, here's the thing. You don't even need all the other drinks. You need a clear pop for children. You need Mountain Dew, and I guess you need a cola. So maybe stick with the Dr. Pepper. Who cares? And just have that be your entire serving.
Right. Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper. That's it.
That's it.
And like sweet tea if somebody likes a sweet tea.
And well, a slice.
Dr. Pepper all the way. That's my.
I mean, those are.
There.
If I drink soft drinks, it's become Dew or Dr. Pepper.
They will still have. They will still have Dr. Pepper. They are not losing
Dr. Pepper stays.
Pepper.
Right. But my thing is, like, when my normal default setting for cheese conies my entire life was Coke. But Skyline is synonymous with getting a Mountain Dew.
That's because you're a hillbilly, but that's neither here nor
Dixie
there.
Chili's delicious.
Well, I'm referencing the fact that you live in Kentucky, but
sure. But a lot of the things we have are better than the things on the wrong side of the moat.
You also ate all of your cheese conies without shoes on. We get it, but it's fine.
You live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I know. We don't even have Skyline on
I
here.
live in a city. You live in the middle of fucking. If the breeze blows too hard, you don't have power for 3 days. I'm a hillbilly.
Life comes at you.
Damn.
Rapid fire, Chicago style or New York style pizza?
New York style. Get out of here.
New York.
Holy
New
shit.
York.
The only thing worse than a Chicago style pizza, because it takes an hour after you order it to receive it, at least an hour. The only thing worse is the tomato pie. I don't understand anything about a tomato pie. It's the strangest thing when it doesn't have cheese. What is even that? But yeah, it's the obvious answer. Always New York style.
Yes.
Always. Not even close. Go to salad dressing.
Well, we all live in Ohio, so except for Chad. So ranch would be, well, I guess, and Brent. He doesn't live in Ohio either.
So at home, I eat
Midwest.
Creamy French at home. If I'm out, I eat ranch because it's just the easiest control. Like I know exactly what my salad is going to taste like with ranch. Right.
Yeah.
I don't. Other than the only place I'll go different is Rafferty's with their hot bacon honey mustard, which is the best salad dressing known to man, and also defeats the purpose of eating a salad.
Caesar salad's pretty good. You can't go wrong with a good Caesar.
Caesar's pretty good.
But also, I like my ranch a little runny, like from the pizza places. You know, get that Hidden Valley out of here. Go ahead,
Ryan. What you got? Italian?
Hey, balsam! Give me a balsamic vinaigrette.
I do like a basic vinaigrette.
I do like a balsamic vinaigrette. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably go with that.
Potato skins or cheese sticks?
Oh man. So cheese sticks are the more common.
Yeah.
But if a place has good potato skins, man.
Yeah, with
like
some
that
sour
crunchy,
cream.
that crunchy, skin on the outside.
We're talking like a mozzarella stick type thing?
Yeah, mozzarella sticks, yeah.
Okay. I'll probably
Gotta fancy it up. Gotta fancy it up for the Italian. Cheese stick. What do you mean cheese stick?
I order mozzarella sticks regularly as an appetizer, way more than I order potato skins.
Yeah.
Because some potato skins suck.
Right. That's why I don't get potato skins a lot.
You're always getting at least
screw up.
You're always getting at least a mid-level cheese stick.
Right. Right. And sometimes you get a cheese stick where you're like, ooh.
Yeah.
I think I go
arancini, baby. A little arancini.
Right.
Okay.
Or arancini. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Arancini is unbelievable. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, I'll go cheese sticks.
What you got, Brent?
Potato skin. Throw a little sour cream on there. Cause gosh, I'll be honest. Sometimes you get a bad cheese stick, and I'd rather have a
I've
bad.
had bad potato skins way more than I've had bad cheese sticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing you can do bad on a cheese stick is if it's already cooled off
and it's just hot
and there's no cheese pull, right? It's just
yeah,
that's bad.
Exactly.
Or it's undercooked and it doesn't have the
melt. Yeah, you got to have the melt.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
When is the follow-up question? When is the Father of the Year statue unveiling for Chad and the haircut incident?
I only need Father of the Week. That wasn't a Father of the Year move. There's going to be dads that do bigger things than fixing a bad haircut. But I think I should at least get Father of the Week, which gets like a picture on the wall.
There we go.
That's all. That's all I want.
Father of the Week.
I don't need a statue.
Put it on a poster.
Humble brag of the week. There you have it. Brent, get us out of here.
Well, guys, March Madness is here. Bearcats are still playing basketball. NIT Wednesday night, 9 p.m. San Francisco, the Dons. How about that? That's a fascinating nickname.
Shockingly, Cincinnati doesn't play on Tuesday, and they don't have a return game against Xavier on Thursday. It's hard to believe.
Wow. Interesting. Very good. But hey, you know what? Phil Fifth Third, get that place popping. Bearcat basketball still alive and well. Big shouts, big thank you to the man, Nico Palizzetti. Big shouts as well, of course, to Quick Paper Supply, to Danco Transmission, Not Care, to New Riff, and with Royer, my favorite segment. Yeah, okay. One last thing, Chad.
Media with Wes tomorrow. I think 1:15ish.
Oh,
and
nice.
then Katrina Merriweather after with the women going to the NIT.
Yep, that's great.
And then spring football practice right after that. So
yeah,
another busy day at Bearcat Journal coming right at you.
Yeah. Shouts to the baseball team real fast, getting their first series win
got their first series
Kansas.
win.
Yep. Kansas,
who did the most Bush League bullshit ever, bunting.
While they're
in
getting
the ninth inning
on
with
a
a
no-hitter.
no-hitter.
But that's a different story for a different day. But for my guys, my pals, the crew, the squad, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, and Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Yet another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.